is the newest Disney and Pixar movie, this one based off of the character that the toy in Toy Story is based off of. Basically, the gist of this movie is Buzz Lightyear and Star Command are stranded on this planet. He has to find a way to achieve hyperspeed in order to find a way to get them off of this planet. These events lead to him assembling his own crew of Space Rangers to take out a threat to all of Star Command and the plan to ultimately get back home. I love the Toy Story movies. The original Toy Story is probably my favorite animated movie of all time. The character Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story, really the Toy Story franchise, is one of my all-time favorite movie characters. I even really enjoyed that Buzz Lightyear of Star Command cartoon that was on Disney way back in the day. If you grew up in the 90s, you definitely saw it. Or maybe if you haven't seen it, you at least know what I'm talking about for sure. And I've always been interested in seeing a movie that captured exactly what Buzz Lightyear was as a character, not as a toy, but as a character in his own universe. So seeing that Disney and Pixar was going to make an actual spin-off movie towards the character Buzz Lightyear with Chris Evans voicing him, of course I was hyped for it. So getting into the movie, one thing that I like that they did right out the gate is apparently this movie Lightyear exists in the Toy Story universe. Like, apparently the Buzz Lightyear toy is from this Lightyear movie, and this Lightyear movie was Andy's all-time favorite movie as a kid. I thought that was interesting right there, because that right there shows why Andy is such a fan of Buzz Lightyear, why he's so excited to get the action figure for his birthday in the first Toy Story. And I really liked Chris Evans as the voice of Buzz. I know a lot of people might have had a problem that Tim Allen's not the voice, but I thought Chris Evans really brought his own flair to Buzz while still reminding us of what kind of character he was in the first Toy Story. He's driven, he's a leader, he's stubborn, sometimes he's lovably naive. I thought he did a really good job of embodying Buzz Lightyear from what we knew him as originally in the first Toy Story. And of course, with every Pixar movie, the animation in this movie looks beautiful. I mean, we just knew it was going to. It does here. I will say, the space scenes and the action scenes all look great. I will say, quite a few of the action scenes when they go down are actually pretty fun. It's really great seeing him take on these robots and these villains and seeing how he's able to acquire or really build the different gadgets that we kind of all know and love. There's a lot of nostalgia in this movie. Like, Buzz throws out a lot of those lines that we're kind of used to hearing him say in previous Toy Story movies or these Star Command shows that he was a part of, or seeing him acquire different abilities or things like that. It's like, oh, I remember that. Oh, hey, that's cool to see. Oh, so that's how we got that. Getting into some of the issues I have in this movie, though, I think this movie relies a little too heavily on nostalgia. You know, between the lines that we're used to hearing Buzz say, between, you know, pointing out just the things that kind of made him the hero that he was. Sometimes it feels like they're trying a little too hard to throw that at audiences so they can reminisce on how great it was to see that in the first Toy Story or to see how Buzz became the character that he is. I mean, it's great to have nostalgia in any movie, but at some point you can't let nostalgia be everything to the movie, and this movie sometimes catered towards being that. Also, gotta say this right now, I wasn't a big fan of how the storytelling went in the beginning of the movie. Basically, I heard reports, or early reviews rather, that the first 30 minutes felt a lot like the first, 20 to 30 minutes of Up. I can see why people would compare the beginning of Lightyear to the beginning of Up, but having said that, is the beginning of Lightyear as emotionally impactful as Up? No. It's not even remotely close. The first 10 minutes of Up shows these two characters aging together and portrays what is an incredibly beautiful love story. The beginning of Lightyear shows Buzz going on this mission to hopefully get, everyone back home. However, he's losing time with people that he cares about, and he's seeing life progress without him. It's meant to hit you emotionally. The problem is the movie doesn't do a very good job at getting you emotionally invested in the characters, or in this case, character, that you're supposed to feel that connection with, that you're supposed to buy into this amazing friendship that Buzz has with this character. By the end of Up's version of telling that story, emotionally, it just wipes you out in the first 10 minutes. Lightyear? Not really. Maybe I would have if they got me a little more invested in this character and in the relationship between this character and Buzz, but they didn't really, so I was left kind of feeling empty about it. Even the crew that Buzz assembles all together, I wasn't totally into these characters. I mean, the movie does a lot of focus on one in particular, and because this character has relations to the character that Buzz had a friendship with from back in the day. But everyone else just kind of was there. I mean, they have their own little quirks and their own personalities and such, but none of which that stood out between the others. They all kind of felt more or less like the same character. Weird, outcasted, funny at times for sure. I will give Socks the Cat credit. He was definitely the funniest character in this movie. That being said, he didn't have me rolling on the floor like I thought he was going to have me being in this movie. He never catered on being annoying or anything like that. I guess sometimes some of his jokes get a little too repetitive for me, and at one point I'm just like, that was funny at first, but now you're kind of overdoing it. In a lot of ways, this crew of characters kind of remind me a little bit of the characters from Monsters University. You know, you had Mike and Sally, they joined this fraternity, you have this group of monsters that they have to try to win this whole scare competition with. And you're fine with them, and you root for them because they're on Mike and Sally's team, but none of them really stood out to a level that you're going to remember them after the movie. The difference, however, is I think Monsters University had a much better premise and a much better execution of its premise than Lightyear had for either. Also, I'm gonna say this right now, I was really not a fan of the direction they took the villain in Lightyear. I get what they were doing, I get what they were going for, and it does have some kind of parallel towards the Toy Story movies, or at least what they kind of hint at in the Toy Story movies. I'm just not a fan of it because I have had this portrayal of what this villain is for a very long time, and kind of what this villain embodies, and what this villain has meant to Buzz throughout Buzz's journey, whether it was in Toy Story or Star Command or whatever. This little plot twist they went, I appreciate what they were trying to do. I just think they could have done it much differently. So all in all, Lightyear for me, it was alright. I liked Chris Evans as the voice of Buzz Lightyear. I liked the nostalgia that this movie provided, even though they went a little too overboard with it sometimes. The movie has a lot of Easter eggs to throw at you, and there are some in particular that I was pretty hyped to see. His crew of side characters, they're fine, but none of them stand out to the level that you'd like them to. Not all of the humor in this movie hits me the way that some Pixar movies in the past have. It definitely does not hit me on the emotional level that a lot of Pixar movies have. The action's pretty fun when it went down. The animation looks great. Was not a fan of the direction they took the villain. Also, I will say, the pace in this movie isn't always the best. In the end, this is definitely a watchable Pixar movie. But that being said, I look at the Pixar movies released this year between this and Turning Red. For me, Pixar is 0 for 2 when it comes to gems. And that's a little disappointing. You would think with 2 Pixar movies getting released a year, at least one of them would have been great. Well, nothing's immortal. I will say this much, however. I do like the idea of these Pixar characters, namely these Toy Story characters, getting these movies and stories based off the actual characters that the toys are based off of. So I will say this much. If somewhere down the line Pixar wants to make perhaps a Woody's Roundup movie that's based off the character Woody and, you know, his Roundup gang, that's basically a Western or something like that, I'm not against that idea. I mean, that could be cool. If they execute it right, something like that could be awesome. Hopefully in the future, they get a better sense of what they're supposed to do. So that's all I'm going to say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. And as always, definitely leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.